me ask you something. Have you ever set a goal, got all excited about it, maybe even told the whole world what you were about to do, and then 2 months later, that same goal is sitting in the corner collecting dust? You started strong, but somewhere along the way you lost that fire. You lost that drive. You lost that reason to keep going. And let me tell you why. That's because goals without purpose don't last. Purpose is the power source. Purpose is what separates a dream that dies in your notebook from a dream that shows up in your reality. See, you can have the biggest goals in the world, but if you don't know why you're chasing them, the first challenge, the first rejection, the first setback is going to knock you right out the game. But when your goals are tied to a purpose, when they're tied to something bigger than money, bigger than clout, bigger than what people think of you, that's when you become unstoppable. That's when you find the strength to keep grinding, keep pushing, keep showing up, no matter what's standing in your way. Purpose is what gives goals power. Let me tell you something. Goals by themselves are just ideas floating around in your head like clouds in the sky. They look pretty, they sound good, but they don't move you. They don't push you. They don't make you wake up at 5 a.m. and grind when the whole world is asleep. That's where purpose comes in. Purpose is like the gasoline in the tank of your car, like the electricity in the wires that light up your house. Without purpose, your goals ain't going anywhere. And the truth is, most people don't even realize they're running empty. They chase things because they think they should, or because somebody told them that's what success looks like. But when the first obstacle comes, they quit. You see, purpose is the thing that keeps you moving when you're tired, when you're scared, when you feel like nobody believes in you. Purpose is what makes the grind meaningful. It makes the struggle worth it. It turns sweat and tears into progress. I've seen people with all the talent in the world, all the opportunity, all the connections, but if they ain't got purpose driving their goals, they don't last. They give up too soon. They lose focus. They wander from one thing to another, always chasing, never catching, because there's nothing in their engine pushing them forward. On the other hand, when you find your purpose, oh Lord, something magical happens. That goal that used to feel heavy becomes lighter because it's powered by something deeper than just ambition. Purpose creates consistency. It gives you the energy to show up day after day, even when the results aren't immediate, even when the world doubts you. It's what makes you rise earlier than others, work harder than others, and endure longer than others. And let me be real with you. Life is going to test you. Life is going to throw challenges, setbacks, and rejections at you. But when your purpose fuels your goals, you don't stop, you don't break, you don't fold, you push through. Purpose is what separates the people who dream from the people who actually achieve. You can have a goal to start a business, to lose weight, to write a book, to become rich, to travel the world, but without purpose, that goal is like a candle in the wind. It flickers and dies the first time the storm hits. But when your purpose is connected to your goal, it becomes unshakable. It becomes a force inside you that no one can touch. It's the difference between living an ordinary life and living a life that's extraordinary. The difference between giving up after a month and pushing for a decade. Purpose is the fuel that turns goals into reality, and without it, you're just moving empty, hoping for results that ain't coming, waiting for something outside yourself to make you move, instead of lighting that fire inside and running full speed toward your destiny. Now let me explain something real clear to you, because this right here is where a lot of people mess up. You can know what you want. You can even know how you're going to get it, but if you don't know why you want it, you won't make it through the tough parts. Life is going to test you. That's a guarantee. Nothing you want is going to come easy. So the only thing that keeps you locked in, the only thing that keeps you pushing when your body says stop, when the world says you can't, when your friends stop believing in you, is your why is the anchor. It's the root. It's the reason you wake up and keep moving even when everything in you is telling you to quit. People think success is about talent, resources, or opportunity. But the truth is, success is about resilience, and resilience comes from clarity of why. See, when you know your why, every obstacle looks different. A roadblock isn't the end of the road anymore. It's just a challenge you know you're gonna push past. A rejection isn't final, it's just redirection. Because you're not just chasing a goal for the surface level reward. You're chasing it because something deep inside you says, this is what I'm meant to do. Attempt. This is who I'm meant to be. Think about it like this. If someone tells you to run 10 miles for no reason, you might quit halfway because it doesn't make sense. But if I tell you your child is at the finish line or your life is depending on it, suddenly those 10 miles don't look so impossible anymore. That's the power of knowing your why. It transforms impossible into necessary. It transforms difficulty into determination. You start to realize it's not just about reaching a finish line. It's about living out your purpose. And let me tell you something else. When you don't know your why, you get distracted real easy. You start chasing things that look good instead of things that feel right. You start following other people's paths instead of creating your own. But when your why is clear, distractions fall away because you can tell instantly whether something lines up with your purpose or not. Clarity of why gives you direction. It gives you confidence. It makes decision making easier. It makes sacrifice worth it. Because once you know why, you stop feeling sorry for yourself during the grind. You stop looking at the pain as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. You understand that every late night, every early morning, every tear, every setback is building the strength and character you need to get where you're going. That's why people who know their why seem unstoppable. It's not that life doesn't knock them down. It's that their why keeps them getting back up again and again. You can take away their money, their opportunities, even their support system, but you can't take away their reason. And as long as that reason lives inside of them, they're gonna keep coming back stronger. Let me tell you something. Persistence is the difference maker. Everybody starts out excited. Everybody's hyped up at the beginning. When you first set a goal, it feels good. It feels exciting. It feels like nothing can stop you. But the truth is, life is gonna test you. And that excitement is not enough to carry you through. That's where persistence comes in. Persistence is when you keep going even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't see results, even when everybody else has walked away. Persistence is what separates the people who talk about success from the people who actually live it. You can have the biggest dream, the smartest plan, the best talent. But if you don't have persistence, it all falls apart the first time things get tough. I've seen this with my own eyes. Some folks are gifted, they're brilliant, they've got everything it takes to win, but the moment life says no, they give up. They think one failure means the end, one closed door means it wasn't meant to be. But the truth is, persistence is about hearing no 1,000 times and still believing in that one yes. Persistence is about pushing through the nights when you cry yourself to sleep, but you wake up and keep moving anyway. It's about showing up when you're tired, when you're broke, when you're discouraged, but still putting one foot in front of the other. That's the grind that nobody claps for. That's the fight that nobody sees. And that's where greatness is built. Life is going to throw challenges your way, and sometimes it feels unfair. You'll wonder why it has to be so hard, why things take so long, why every step forward feels like 2 steps back. But understand this, those challenges aren't there to destroy you, they're there to shape you. Persistence builds strength. Persistence builds character. Persistence teaches you discipline, patience, and resilience. If everything came easy, you wouldn't value it. You wouldn't grow, and you wouldn't be prepared to handle it when it came. That's why persistence is necessary. It's not just about reaching the goal. It's about becoming the person capable of holding on to the blessing once you get there. And here's the thing, persistence doesn't always look glamorous. Sometimes it looks like working 2 jobs to fund your dream. Sometimes it looks like studying when your friends are out having fun. Sometimes it looks like failing over and over but refusing to stay down. That's persistence. That's where champions are made. Because at the end of the day, talent might open doors, luck might give you a break, but persistence is what keeps you in the game long enough for your breakthrough to come. So when life hits you hard, when you're on the edge of giving up, remember this: persistence is your weapon. It's your power. It's your proof to the world and to yourself that you want this bad enough. Keep going, keep pushing, keep grinding. Because persistence through challenges is the only way to turn goals into reality. Now, here's what a lot of folks don't understand, and it's why so many people feel stuck, even though they're working hard. Hard work by itself isn't enough if you're not aligned with your purpose. You can be busy all day long chasing task after task, but if it doesn't line up with your real purpose, you're just spinning your wheels. Alignment is when your goals, your actions, and your purpose are all moving in the same direction. And when that happens, something powerful kicks in: momentum. Momentum is when things start flowing, when doors start opening, when opportunities you didn't even see coming start showing up. It's that feeling when everything begins to click. Not because it suddenly got easier, but because you finally lined up with what you were meant to do. Think of it like pushing a car. At first, it's heavy, it's tough, it feels like you'll never get it moving. But once you get it rolling, once that momentum builds, it becomes easier to keep pushing. That's exactly how alignment works with your goals. At the start, you're grinding, you're sweating, you're wondering why it feels so slow. But when you stay aligned, when your goal is tied to your purpose and your daily actions are tied to your goal, momentum takes over. Suddenly, you're not just forcing things to happen, things start happening for you. People start noticing your consistency, opportunities start coming your way, and you start building confidence with every step forward. That's the power of alignment. Now, here's the trap many people fall into. They chase goals that look good but don't feel right. They chase money but not meaning, fame but not fulfillment, success but not satisfaction. And because of that, they burn out. They're grinding, but they're grinding in the wrong direction. Alignment saves you from that. When your goals align with your true self, you don't burn out the same way, because even when you're tired, you're fulfilled. Even when it's hard, it still feels worth it. You don't have to fake passion, because passion flows naturally when you're in alignment. Momentum is also contagious. Once you build it, it spreads to every area of your life. You start eating better, you start thinking clearer, your relationships improve, your confidence grows. Because alignment creates balance, and balance creates power. When your spiritual, mental, and physical self all move in the same direction, you become unstoppable. That's when people look at you and say, "Man, how are they doing all that?" It's not magic, it's alignment creating momentum. So don't just ask yourself what your goals are. Ask yourself if they align with your purpose. Don't just chase activity, chase alignment. Because once everything in you points in the same direction, you won't have to force progress anymore. Progress will find you. That's the secret to building unstoppable momentum in life. Let me tell you something real plain and simple. You cannot fake your way to lasting success. You can pretend for a little while, you can put on a mask, you can copy what everybody else is doing, but eventually that catches up with you. Authenticity is the glue that holds your goals together. If what you're chasing doesn't match who you really are, you're going to run out of gas sooner or later. People think they can trick their way into success, but you can't outlast life when you're living a lie. You might impress people on the outside, but inside you'll be empty, frustrated, and constantly second-guessing yourself. That's why authenticity matters. See, the world is full of people trying to fit into somebody else's lane. They want to live like the influencers they see online. They want to copy what their friends are doing. They want approval more than they want fulfillment. But here's the truth. What works for somebody else might not work for you, because their purpose is not your purpose. And when your goals aren't tied to your own truth, you're chasing smoke. That's why so many people quit halfway. They're not failing because they're weak. They're failing because they're not being real about what they actually want. Authenticity gives you endurance. When the goal lines up with who you really are, attempt. You can fight through rejection. You can fight through setbacks, because you know you're not living for somebody else's validation. You're living for your own destiny. Now listen, authenticity doesn't mean being perfect. It means being honest. It means admitting what drives you, what scares you, what excites you, and not being ashamed of it. Authenticity means owning your story. even the parts that are messy, even the parts that don't look good to other people. Tempt, because when you're authentic, your goals become personal, and when they're personal, they're powerful. People can take your job, they can take your money, but they can't take your authenticity. That's yours forever. And that's why authentic goals have lasting power. They're rooted in truth, not in trends. And let me be real with you, people can smell fake. They might not say it, but they feel it. But when you're authentic, people trust you, they believe in you, they want to help you, because authenticity has energy. It attracts the right people and opportunities to your life. You don't have to chase approval, because authenticity makes you magnetic. When you walk in your truth, the doors you need start opening.